I lost my hearing fairly suddenly.
I began losing my hearing when I was about 35 years old. Having trouble on the phone probably started about 15 years ago.
I dreaded for the phone to ring.
It was very hard for me to understand sometimes.
Most of the time, it would be, huh? I'm sorry, what was that?
I would get little bits here and there of conversation, but I just didn't feel confident that I was fully understanding what I was trying to hear on the phone.
The telephone was just a useless tool.
The phone, I've not had a very good relationship.
And it got to the point where my children got frustrated with me on the phone and would not communicate. It finally just became impossible. I knew something had to change.
When I got my Captel, it just changed my world completely.
Everyone was amazed. I was amazed.
It was a miracle to me.
With the Captel, I don't have that hesitation.
I just love knowing that I have something there and that I don't have to be scared or anxious, and it allows me to be independent.
And now I can understand them because I can see it as I'm talking on the phone. I'm like, oh, okay, I got it now.
To hear their voice, to know I'm not missing anything, to realize that, now I'm not just, seeing a few words here and there, I'm filling in the gaps.
The first time I tried the Captel phone, I called my mother and I could hear her voice.
She realized that I wasn't saying, huh? Or hang on, slow down, wait a minute.
And he was, this is correct? Yeah, it is. And we talked for about an hour, and he was just amazed that I could actually hear him.
And she said, what happened? And I said, Captel.
If I'm to talk on the telephone, it's Captel. I guess I've had it long enough now, it just seems to be part of me.
It's my lifeline. It's my connection to the world. It's the only time in my life before the rain. I said, I'll get it.
Y'all have changed my world. You just don't know. You really have.
Well, it's perfect.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Pflugerville Seniors Conference. We're so glad that you have joined us this morning. My name is Rob Fabian with Age of Central Texas. We're a regional nonprofit organization that serves older adults and family members who are caregivers. And it is our pleasure to partner once again this year with the Pflugerville Community Church to bring you this 6th annual Pflugerville Seniors Conference. Before we get started this morning, just a couple of housekeeping issues. As you notice, we're having a little bit of a tech burp this morning. I know that folks that are in Pflugerville and in Round Rock are having some issues with their internet. We're attributing that to the weather that's coming in today. So if for any reason you get knocked off this morning while we're doing the presentation, don't worry. We're recording today's presentation and we're going to be posting it onto YouTube. And later we're going to be sending you the link for today's presentation along with all the resource materials. We're going to do that every day this week. We're going to record all the sessions and we're going to make them available forever on YouTube. So if anything happens and you lose us today, don't worry, you'll be able to watch the rest of this program later on. Also, we sent you the program for today's session, and so we hope you take a look at that. Not only does it have some great information from our sponsors like Captel, who is our presenting sponsor this year, but also information about our speakers. And there's also a lot of really good resources that we included in the program for you. So we hope that you can take advantage of those. At the end of all of our sessions, we're going to send you a recap with all the links and all of the materials, and we're also going to send you a survey. We ask that you fill out the survey. It'll be electronic, and it'll only take you just a couple of minutes. But it's really important for us because it helps us to plan next year's program. We want to know from you, what are the issues that you are dealing with that you would like for us to find some experts to talk about? So be sure and watch for that survey. It'll come at the end of this week. Then finally, right down here, you have a chat feature. We want you to communicate with us during today's program. If you have questions, we'd like you to ask them. Lonna's going to do a wonderful presentation about medical management. And if you've got questions specifically, here is your chance to ask the expert, to ask your questions and let us help find the solutions for you. So type your questions into the chat box today. And then at the end of the session, we're going to go back and we're going to answer your questions live. Now, for some reason, we run short on time because we're going to honor your time. We said we're going to stop at 11:30, and that's what we're going to do. Then we will still answer your questions. We will contact you directly, and we will get you an answer to your question. So be sure and ask those questions because these sessions are for you. They're for you to have an opportunity to learn from the area experts and have a chance for us to be able to answer all of your questions. All right, let's get started. It is my pleasure to introduce Lonna Hayes. She is the outpatient pharmacist for Baylor Scott White Health in Round Rock. She is just a wealth of information when it comes to medical management and how we can best work with our doctors and our pharmacists and to take care of ourselves and make sure that our medications are working the best that they can and that we don't have any of those interactions that we always so worry about. You know, she is licensed to practice not only here in Texas, but also in Nebraska and in Iowa. So she has a tremendous amount of experience. Lonna, I'm going to ask you to unmute and I am going to turn this over to you.
All right, good morning, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and launch my PowerPoint. Just a second, okay, guys? Sorry, it's giving me a little bit of an issue. It's not letting me show my PowerPoint for some reason. There we go. All right. All right.
Perfect.
So we're going to go ahead and get started. So today what I'm going to talk to you about is medication adherence. And adherence isn't necessarily a term you may be familiar with. So let's go ahead and get started with the disclosure before we hop right in. So any information and advice in this educational session is given on a generalized generic basis and is not specific to any individual patient's condition. Use of the information in this educational session may be helpful in making you informed about healthcare issues. Participation in this education section does not create a care provider-patient relationship. This educational section cannot replace a health professional-patient relationship, and you should always consult with your professional for diagnosis and treatment of any specific health problem. You should not disregard any advice or treatment from your health professional based on your interpretation of what you may hear at this educational session. And they just have us do that little disclosure up front. So, medication adherence is defined as taking medication correctly. So, just a second. I think I've got to make some things a little smaller so that I can talk to you guys a little better. Okay, so let's start again. So medication adherence or taking medication correctly is generally defined as the extent to which patients take medication as prescribed by their doctors. This involves factors such as getting prescriptions filled, remembering to take medications on time, and understanding directions. So what are some of the common barriers to adherence? The most common barriers included the inability to pay for medications. That's something that we see a lot at pretty much any retail pharmacy that I've been at. And it doesn't matter your age. Some medications just happen to be more expensive than others. And if they're cost prohibitive, people are less likely to pick them up. There's also the disbelief that the treatment isn't necessary or isn't helping. And you may notice that with conditions where there aren't any physical symptoms, like some patients may not notice that their blood pressure is high or that their cholesterol is too high. One of the things my dad always tells me about his blood pressure and his medicine is, well, I don't feel like my blood pressure is too high. Well, unfortunately, you may not feel that it's too high until it's too late. There's also difficulty keeping up with multiple medications and complex dosing schedules. One of the biggest things that I see being in charge of medication therapy management is that a number of our seniors are on multiple medications. Some may be on between 10 to 15 different medications, and those dosing schedules can be confusing to patients and to caregivers. There's also confusion about how and when to take medications. For example, once a day doesn't really tell you what the best time of the day is to take your medication. For patients that have enlarged prostates, tamsulosin is best taken once a day. Typically, I recommend 30 minutes after an evening meal, but your doctor may just say, take one tablet once a day. And that doesn't necessarily tell you some other important factors about that medication. So, and I've got a question, but I know you guys may not necessarily be able to answer me since we're using a chat function. So if your doctor were to write 100 prescriptions, how many of those prescriptions would be taken correctly? And you can guess in the chat if you'd like. The correct answer to that is only between 25 to 30 of those prescriptions. So the CDC did a study back in 2017 about medication adherence. So for every 100 prescriptions written, only between 50 to 70 are filled by the pharmacy. Of those prescriptions filled by the pharmacy, only 48 to 66 prescriptions are picked up. Once those prescriptions leave the pharmacy, only 25 to 30 are taken properly. And when it comes time to refill when it comes time to refill these prescriptions, only between 15 to 20 prescriptions are even refilled. So why does any of this matter? Poor adherence can interfere with the ability to treat many diseases, leading to greater complications from the illness and a lower quality of life for patients. Here are some examples of areas in which medication adherence can pose challenges, along with some tips for taking medications correctly and talking with healthcare professionals about your questions and concerns. So, among patients with high blood pressure, taking fewer than 8 out of 10 antihypertensive doses increases the risk for a cardiac event such as heart attack by 4 times. Mortality is increased in patients with uncontrolled hypertension, which can be due to what? Non-adherence. So, in fact, non-adherence is the most important cause of failure to control blood pressure. Non-adherence can also lead to drug withdrawal symptoms. Rebound hypertension can occur after missing just 1 dose of the beta blocker atenolol. Clonidine withdrawal can occur 18 hours after the last dose and is characterized by rebound hypertension, which is essentially your body's blood pressure goes higher than it was when it was being treated. Sweating, headache, flushing, insomnia, nausea, and vomiting. Some antidepressants such as paroxetine, sertraline, and venlafaxine, these are also known as Paxil, Zoloft, and Effexor, also have withdrawal syndromes. Non-adherence to antiplatelet treatments such as aspirin or clopidogrel, some of you may know that as Plavix, can actually make platelets more likely to stick together and form a clot, possibly leading to a 9-fold increase in the risk for a cardiac event, hospitalization, or death. Another potential problem is that if a patient stops taking a medication, the dose of the medication may need to be retitrated, so you may have to start at the beginning. In addition, if a patient resumes a medication at a previous dose after skipping doses, excessive side effects such as dizziness with ACE inhibitors, some of you may know that is like the drug lisinopril, or alpha blockers such as doxyzocin or terazosin may lead to non-adherence again. And we're going to take adherence to maintenance medications like blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes are important. It's also important to talk about acute medication adherence. So we're going to take a little brief detour to antibiotics. So For your antibiotics, if you feel better and you no longer have symptoms, you may think your illness is cured, but if you have a bacterial infection, this can be a dangerous assumption. If the full course of antibiotics is not taken, a small number of bacteria are likely to be alive. These surviving germs are likely to have natural resistance to the antibiotics. As they multiply and spread, a new strain of resistant germs may begin to develop. It's important to use antibiotics appropriately and to take medications exactly as directed. Make sure to take all the doses of the antibiotic, even if the infection is getting better. Don't stop taking the antibiotic unless your doctor tells you to stop. Don't share antibiotics with others, and don't save unfinished antibiotics for another time. Not only are you worried about antibiotics that you save becoming ineffective, some medications like tetracycline can actually cause a toxic reaction after they're expired. One of the stories that sticks out in my mind is when I first graduated from school, a fella called me on the phone. It was just a normal Saturday, so I was by myself, and he asked about an antibiotic that he had. And honestly, I didn't even know it was an antibiotic. He asked me, he goes, well, I have some Rexar. Do you know what that's used for? And I went, no. And I got a little flustered, and I was just like, I've never heard of Rexar. Did you fill it here by chance? And he goes, I sure did. So I did an expanded search. And remember, this is right when I graduated school. So this would have been 2012. Sure enough, I found the Rexar. It was from the late 90s. It's an old antibiotic that was actually removed from the market because it actually caused cardiovascular toxicity. So they removed it from the market. So I didn't learn about it in school. And I didn't know what it was. So it created a scary scenario for both of us because, for one, you should never be taking antibiotics that are that old. And for two, it's like I wasn't even aware of it. So always finish your antibiotics. Don't save them for another time. And if you come across a medication where you're not sure what it's used for, you should always call your pharmacist. All right. So we're going to move on to tips for improving medication adherence. So I've had several tips for you today. Number one, you're going to want to communicate with your healthcare professionals. Number two, make sure you understand how long to take the medication. Number three, tell your doctor if paying for your prescription drugs is a problem. Number four, set daily routines to take medications. Number five, keep medications where you'll notice them. Number six, use daily dosing containers. And number seven, keep a written or computerized schedule. All right. So be sure to talk with your healthcare team. They can't help you if they're unaware of any problems. If a medication side effects is bothering you, talk with your doctor or pharmacist about what you can do to lessen the problem. You might be able to switch to a different medication, or your doctor may be able to adjust the timing of your dosing. And it's what we're here for. A lot of times your doctors are available via, at least here at Baylor Scott White, my chart, where you can actually message your doctor directly. Your pharmacists are typically available during normal business hours. Some of our pharmacies are even 24 hours. So if you've got a question in the middle of the night, you can always call a 24-hour pharmacist. A pharmacist is almost always available, even if they're not your pharmacist. If you're concerned, be sure to reach out right away. But what kind of questions should you be asking? And I'm going to actually drop this in the chat once we get finished. I was hoping that I'd be able to see all you folks in person and give you handouts, but I'll drop these in the chat a little later, okay? So this is actually a handout from helpwithmymeds.org about questions to ask your doctor or your pharmacist about medications. So we're gonna go over each of the three sections. There's the Ask Your Doctor section, Ask Your Pharmacist section, and then special drugs in the notes section. Okay. So first, we're going to cover questions to ask your doctor when they mention that they're going to prescribe a new drug for you. Be sure to ask, what is the name of the medication? What is the medication for? What are the benefits of the medicine to me? What are the risks of this medication? Are there non-drug alternatives such as diet or lifestyle changes? Is there a less expensive medicine that could be used instead? When should I expect the medicine to start working? And how will I know if it's working? How long will I have to take the medicine? What is the dosage form of the medication? Because that's important to some folks. And sometimes pills can be too big. And I just got a message that says, can this be emailed to us? I will ask about it being emailed, about this being emailed to you, but we will share it in the chat as well.
And also, Lonna, it is attached in the program. So the program PDF that we sent to everybody,
Perfect.
all of these handouts are in the resources in the back of the program.
Thank you so much, Rob. That's awesome too. All right. So. And your pharmacist is going to be the person who probably gets the most questions from you about your new medication. So there's about a dozen here. So questions you should ask your pharmacist include, how much of the medicine do I take? When do I take the medicine? For example, does 4 times a day mean you have to take in the middle of the night? Should the medicine be taken with water or food? Should the medicine be taken before, during, or after meals? Can I take it at the same time as other medicines? If not, which ones? Will this new medicine work safely with the other prescription and non-prescription medicines or dietary supplements I take? What should I do if I miss or forget a dose? What food, drinks, other medicines, or activities should I avoid while taking this medicine? How and where should I store this medicine? Does this medicine require refrigeration? What are the possible side effects of this medicine? What do I do if I have a side effect from this medicine? How can I get a refill of the medicine? If so, how often? Is there any written information about the medicine I can take home? And for that last question, oftentimes pharmacies will give what we call a monograph or patient information to you the first time you fill your medication that has a number of frequently asked questions in it with different subheadings. This can be printed in larger type if you have trouble seeing the current font size or a number of other languages other than English. And then we're going to get into the special product section. So if the medication is in a form other than a pill, ask about any special techniques or devices for administering the medicine. For example, liquids that need to shake well before using, or special instructions for the use of inhalers, suppositories, eye drops, or patches. These questions include, are there any special instructions to follow? How much of the medicine do I need to take, especially with those liquids? Will this medicine work safely with the other prescriptions and non-prescription medicines or dietary supplements I'm taking? What are the possible side effects of the medicine? What do I do if I have a side effect from the medicine? When will you check to see if the medicine is working? Do I need to have any tests or monitoring while I'm taking this medicine? Do I need to report back to the doctor? So these are all important questions to ask. And then one of the things that should also be included is an example of a medication record or a medication list. This is actually the list provided by the FDA. It's important to tell your pharmacist every medication you use, especially if you use multiple pharmacies, even if it's in the same pharmacy chain. Oftentimes, pharmacy software only looks at medication dispensed at either the particular pharmacy that you use or pharmacies within that chain. If you're going to multiple different pharmacy chains, your pharmacist may only have a little bit of the picture of your entire med list. So you're going to want to make sure to tell your pharmacist every medication you take when they add anything new. The pharmacist can check and see if there are any drug interactions, but again, they need to know all the medications you take. So keep a record and give it to your pharmacist anytime you start any new medication. List all the prescription and over-the-counter medicines, vitamins, herbals, and other supplements you use. Tell your pharmacist exactly how you're taking your medicine. And don't forget to tell the pharmacist about any changes to your medicines, including medications you may have stopped. So even if you're using multiple pharmacies, what your pharmacist can do is most pharmacists have access to a database, and they can manually put in all of your prescription drugs, herbal supplements, and over-the-counter drugs to make sure that there are no drug interactions, but they need to know everything that you're on. So you're going to want to be sure to share this list with your pharmacist each time. And I know sometimes that can be difficult if you use mail order, but typically the mail order pharmacist will call you to do a consultation for a new medicine. So it may be a good time to bring that up with them. All right. And again, this is just the back side of the medication list from the FDA. And now that you know the reason that you are taking your medicines, you may want to know how long you'll be taking your medicines. Some questions to ask when you're prescribed a new medicine. Is it necessary to empty the bottle, or can I stop this medication once I feel better? Will I need to get a refill, or can I stop this treatment when the bottle is empty? Again, these are all important questions to ask. If you're taking an antibiotic, you're going to probably need to empty the bottle. But if you've gotten prescribed an as needed medication after a surgery for pain, you may just stop taking it once you feel better. Again, these are all questions to ask your doctor and pharmacist as you are prescribed new medications. And the biggest obstacle, again, that I see in the pharmacy is cost of prescription medications. So your doctor may be able to prescribe a generic medication or offer suggestions to offset the cost of a drug. Generic drugs use the same active ingredient and are shown to work the same way in the body, but they can cost 30 to 80% less. Generics also have the same risk and benefits as their brand name counterparts. You can also check to see whether you're eligible for drug assistance programs in your state, and you can check with the pharmaceutical companies that manufacture your medicines to find out whether you qualify for assistance. And many of you may be on Medicare Part C and D. Typically, you can't use some of the manufacturer coupons, but there may be some medication assistance programs where the manufacturer can directly send the drug to you. It may just be something that you need to talk to your doctor and pharmacist about. All right. And most people have a semi-regular daily routine, right? Like you get up, you brush your teeth, and you have some coffee. So it can be helpful to connect taking medications with normal daily activities such as eating a meal or going to bed. You can also keep backup supplies of your medication at your workplace if you're still working, or in your briefcase or purse. For a medication that should be taken with food, you may place that medication on the dinner table or TV tray or wherever you eat on a regular basis. Again, you want to keep your medicine where you'll notice them. If there are medications you need to take in the morning, put those medications in your bathroom next to your toothbrush or your deodorant, or something that you use as part of your morning routine, like your coffee pot. And one of the simplest things you can do is purchase a pill organizer. And these are available in a number of sizes and shapes. That you can make them as low tech or as high tech as you'd like. So this is probably one of the simplest pill organizers. Most of these, a pill organizer like this typically retails for under $10. So this would be a 7-day 4-compartment pill organizer. It's got morning, noon, evening, and bedtime. These are available again at most pharmacies and allow you to keep your medications in compartments that are labeled with the days of the week or various dosage forms. If you only take medications in the morning or evening, you could get one that just has morning and evening. If you only take medications once a day, there are also once-a-day pill organizers. If you can think of it, it probably exists. Sometimes your pharmacy may need to order one for you. The ones they have may not be to your liking, but typically there's a number available. And again, let's go a little high tech with our daily dosing containers. So this is an e-pill 4-alarm med center talk with 7 days and 4 compartments per day weekly pill organizer. This is going to be a little more expensive. It retails for about $69.95. It's available at most pharmacies could order this, but most community pharmacies may not have it in stock. It has alerts with the time and the date using a friendly female voice up to 4 times daily. It says things like, "Good morning, please take your morning pills for the 20th. It has a 7x4 pill box set with easy open lids. It's ideal for those with dexterity issues or tremors, but will benefit anyone who wants an easy at-home solution. It has helpful storage trays to easily organize the set of pill boxes, but due to the easy to open lids, you may not want to travel with it. But if you do need to travel, there are alternative products that you could purchase for when you do travel." All right. And then the last thing we can do is we can keep a written or computerized schedule. And again, you can make this as low tech or as high tech as you want. I know that I like personally having a paper journal and scheduler to keep track of everything. That's just what I like to do. It makes me feel a little better if I can write things down. Some people may use their smartphones too. You may have something you may use your calendar on your phone or a scheduler on your phone. So this schedule can cover the medications you take, how often you take them, and any special directions. Again, thanks to modern technology, there are a number of devices that have been designed to help patients adhere to a prescription medication schedule. These include medication reminder pagers and wristwatch. I know it's probably been a while since some of you have heard about pagers, but they still do exist. A number of our doctors still carry pagers, so I think some of our clinical pharmacists do too, but they actually do make reminder pagers. We also have automatic pill dispensers and even voice command medication managers. Again, you can ask your pharmacist for suggestions as to which particular device may be helpful for you. And again, there's also that FDA printout that I'm including for you. And let's take a look at one of those wristwatches. I think this is actually pretty handy. So this is a 12-alarm medication reminder watch. It retails for about $139.95. It has multiple alarm capacity, up to 12 alarms per day, sound alarms and optional text alarms up to 36 characters. You can snooze an alarm. The watch will remind you every 3 minutes until you take your medicine. And it also has a medication alert database, which displays your medication information in the event of an emergency. How handy is that for a watch? And I know I'm not much of a watch person, but my dad's a watch person. And this is definitely something that I could envision helping him take his medicine if he ever had issues. And then we're going to go real high end. This is the ePill MedTime Station Plus. It's an advanced locked automatic pill dispenser. It's pretty pricey. It retails for a little under $500. It's to help people never forget or double a dose. So this is a locked automated pill dispenser with advanced features that allow patients to take the correct medication at the correct time, significantly improving medication adherence. This is a plus version, and it gives patients and caregivers additional layers of security, control, and insight not available with any other pill dispenser. It also has a tipping station and cup that allows for easy no-spill dispensing. It has no monthly fees. Some of these higher tech pill dispensers may have monthly fees associated with them, so that's definitely something to keep an eye out if you're trying to pick out an automatic pill dispenser that fits into your life. This dispenser is also great for patients who want to live independently or are residing in an assisted living facility. It also benefits caregivers who want a feature-rich solution that provides an easy and accurate way for their loved ones to remember their medicines. The included tipper and cup is best suited for those with limited dexterity and tremors, but will benefit anybody who want a convenient way to dispense and take their medicine. It includes an auto-locking dispenser window plus a key locked lid, and up to 24 alarms with sounds and visual notifications. User selectable alert durations from 5 minutes to 5 hours, which is silenced upon dispensing. Dose remaining indicator, dispensing log, battery indicator, and early dose options in case you need to dispense prior to leaving home for an extended period of time. It also automatically adjusts for daylight savings time. Again, these are high-tech options that you may want to invest in. Again, you can keep it as low-tech as a journal. Unfortunately, I think I forgot to bring my example journal where I keep my schedule, or as high-tech as this. You can also keep a written or computerized schedule via your smartphone. There are a number of smartphone apps. They include Care for Today, CareZone, DoseCast, GenieMD, Mango Health US, MediSafe, MyMedRec, MyMeds, MyMedSchedule US, OnTimeRx, and Zippity Health. Never thought I'd have to say Zippity during the presentation, but they do make smartphone apps. For those of you who may not have a smartphone, you may just have a flip phone. Like if you're my dad, he refuses to get a smartphone. He likes to call it a jitterbug. It pretty much is a jitterbug. You can actually do OnTimeRx or Remember It Now, where they'll just text an alert to whatever phone you happen to have. There's also additional technology tools, including RX Timer Cap. RX Timer Cap is exactly what it sounds like. There's a timer and an alarm inside a little cap that you put on your prescription pill bottle. And the next section we are going to talk about, since we went over taking your medicine, we have to also talk about disposing of your medications, because sometimes medications are stopped or changed. Most individuals and families are all likely to find a variety of unused, expired, or unneeded meds in their homes. So what do you do with these meds? We need to get rid of them, right? But why do we need to get rid of them? Any leftover medication should be disposed of properly for the following reasons. It's unsafe to reuse medications. If a person thinks a prescription medication is needed, they should contact a doctor. Unused medications are often ineffective because they have been kept past their expiration date, or they may have been stored improperly. Unused medications can make a person's home the target of burglary or theft by drug abusers, and then unwanted medications can be found and ingested by children or pets, resulting in accidental poisonings. So how do you get rid of unused or expired medications? There are a couple of different ways. The DEA actually has drug take-back days twice a year. There's typically one in the spring and one in the fall. The one in the spring has actually passed. So we had a DEA take-back day in April. Typically those occur at most police stations. The police stations will open up and take back medications from you at that time. You can keep an eye out for DEA take-back days. Most community pharmacies will actually post posters with the time and date and location of drug take-back days. That's one of the things that we do at my pharmacy. But we also, at some of our Baylor Scott White locations, actually can take those medications back for you. So every day is drug take-back day at some of our locations. Accepted items include unused or expired medications, including Schedule 2 through 5 controlled substances, unused or expired over-the-counter medications, and pet medications. Unacceptable items include Schedule 1 controlled substances, illegal drugs, thermometers, inhalers, lotions and liquids, aerosol cans, needles, and hydrogen peroxide. So a number of our pharmacies do have drug take-back programs. Our Belton Pharmacy, Cameron, our College Station Pharmacy on Earl Rudder, our Gaston Avenue, Dallas location, our Fort Worth location, our Killeen location, our Plano location, and our probably the closest location for most of us is going to be our Round Rock location. We also have some additional locations in South Lake, Temple, Waxahachie, and then our Valley Mills Drive and Waco location. And I'm gonna guess you're gonna wanna know what it looks like, right? So if you head into the Round Rock Pharmacy and you're looking to get rid of some unused medication, where exactly is it gonna go? Well, it actually looks like a big green mailbox. So this is our drug disposal box. It works, we like to tell people, like a mailbox. So you'll open the lid, you'll place your unwanted drugs inside and you'll close it, and then the drugs are irretrievable until the company that runs the disposal box comes to unlock it and remove those medications. But if a drug take-back program isn't available, almost all medications except those on the FDA flush list can be thrown into your household trash. This includes prescription and over-the-counter drugs, and pill, liquid, drop, patches, and creams. So for those liquids that you can't bring over to Round Rock, you can actually get rid of those liquids this way. You just need to follow these 4 easy steps. You're going to want to remove the drug from the original container and mix them with something undesirable, such as coffee grounds, dirt, or cat litter. And I think most of us have access to those things. For those of us who aren't coffee drinkers, I would hope we either had a lawn or a cat or vice versa. So this makes the medicine less appealing to children and pets and unrecognizable to someone who might intentionally go through your trash looking for drugs. The next step is to put the mixture in something you can close, a resealable zipper, storage bag, empty can, or other containers to prevent the drug from leaking or spilling out. Then you'll throw that container into the garbage. The last step is also very important. Scratch out all your personal information on the empty medicine package to protect your identity and privacy, and then you're going to throw it away. And now that we've covered adherence as well as disposing of medications, I'm going to ask, does anybody have any questions? And I think we'll go ahead and refer to the chat for those questions.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Lonna. If you will unshare your screen for me.
I sure will.
We're going to jump into questions in just a second. But before we do that, I've got one more quick video I want to show you. As I mentioned, our wonderful, well, I lost the video. I'm going to find that in just a minute. Our wonderful partners here at the Pflugerville Community Church, excuse me so very much, have a fantastic program over at the church where you can come and exercise and you can spend some time with other folks, and it's just a fantastic program that they have available. So I want to share with you some information about their program. Here we go.
We're excited to tell you about the Pflugerville Community Church 50+ ministry. We call ourselves the PCC Health Nuts. We're a group of seniors caring for seniors by promoting healthy minds, bodies, and spirits. This is our 9th year and we're still going strong. All of our classes are free and directed towards seniors, but all ages are welcome. Membership at PCC is not a requirement to participate in any of our classes or events. Our primary goal is helping seniors stay fit and healthy. To accomplish this, we offer online and in-person fitness classes daily. Our classes for core strength and cardio are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. On Tuesday and Thursday, we concentrate on breathing, balancing, and stretching. Although the exercises are designed for seniors, they will enhance your ability to stay healthy and active no matter your age. All of our exercises can be modified for our wheelchair or sedentary participants. Recently, we've also added line dancing. Line dancing not only keeps your body moving, it also keeps your mind sharp by learning and remembering the new dance moves. With the expansion of Zoom and YouTube, viewership is endless. Anyone with a computer, iPad, or a cell phone can participate. If computers are challenging for you, a member of our leadership team can help you get it all set up. Just ask. In addition to the exercise classes and line dancing, we have other classes and events. One of the most popular events is our healthy cooking segment. Once a month, a member of our group demonstrates healthy cooking techniques. We call these interesting sessions Wellness Wednesdays. In addition to cooking, we offer timely and informative topics that concern all seniors. Recent topics have included 31 Days to Better Health, area chiropractic services, and ancestry searches. We have several exciting topics scheduled that you won't want to miss. In addition, computer classes for seniors and senior game day at the church are starting soon. If you can't join us at the scheduled class times, you can always find us on YouTube at PCC Health Nuts. Let me urge you to check us out. You'll get some great exercise, meet some fantastic people, and have fun along the way. Please contact our leader, Steve Morrison, at the church office, or send him an email at the address shown on your screen for additional information. May God bless you and your family. We hope to see you soon.
All right, thank you so much, Steve. And if you have not been over to the Pflugerville Community Church, they have an amazing gymnasium and an incredible older adults program. So it's free. You don't have to be a member of the church. It's open for the entire community. So really encourage you, if you're in the Pflugerville, Central Texas area, take advantage of that opportunity. Lonna, we've got several questions that folks have asked about their medications. And in particular, want to know about if fish oil is an acceptable alternative to baby aspirin regimen.
I would say probably not. Typically, fish oil is used to help with your cholesterol, but baby aspirin would be taken as a way to prevent blood clots from forming. So I would say no. You could always double check with your doctor if you had additional questions on that.
So it's kind of an apples and oranges there between the two. Okay, fantastic. Also got a question, says that perfect. So this person takes a number of medications at once and wants to know if they should take them all in one handful, or can I space these out over the course of several minutes?
It definitely depends on what the medications are. Some medications should be taken separately from other medications. So it may be something where you would want to double check with your pharmacist, depending on which medications they are. In a perfect world, if there are no drug interactions, you could take them all together. But you would want to double check to make sure that none of those medications need to be taken separately from any of the other medications.
Got it. And, you know, good point here to make is that your pharmacist is really one of your best healthcare advocates, experts that you can ever work with. If you don't have the ability to get back in touch with your doctor just because of time or issues, go check with your pharmacist. Your pharmacist has got extensive training when it comes to the medications. And so your pharmacist can be your first line of information. And if there is an issue that does require your doctor, of course, they're going to refer you back to your doctor. But a lot of times your pharmacist can answer most of your questions about your medications and help you to make sure that you are keeping with adherence. You know, one thing that struck me that, Lonna, that you said was that if you get off of your adherence, if you skip some doses, if you stop taking something, you may have to start over completely with the regimen on the medications.
For sure. And that can be concerning to some people too, because it creates a vicious cycle. Is if you don't take your medication and you don't tell your doctor that you got off of your medication, then they don't restart you and essentially retitrate you back up to the dose that you were on, and you have more side effects than you would have had you just continued on the medication. And it becomes kind of a vicious cycle of, well, I don't want to take this medicine because it makes me feel really bad. And then when I do take it, it's like when I don't take it, I feel a little more normal. Some of those side effects go away with time. And that actually leads me to one of the questions in the chat, which is best time to take high blood pressure meds. So typically what I tell my folks that are taking just a once daily, blood pressure medication is I tell them to take it in the evening, especially for that reason, because if there are side effects that they're experiencing, like dizziness or drowsiness, that's going to happen closer to bedtime, and you're less likely to notice it. It's less likely to impact your day. It's kind of a smoother transition to being on the medication. So a lot of times your pharmacist can help you navigate ways to decrease your side effect profile by telling you what time of day is best to take your medicine.
Yeah, I know we were having that issue with one of my loved ones, that they were having side effects to their meds during the day, and they were able to switch the medication to taking it right before bedtime, and that way they would sleep through the majority of the side effects. But again, that's something that you want to check with the pharmacist, check with your doctor before you make those decisions, because there may be a reason that you need to take it during the day instead of taking it at night. You were talking about one of the biggest issues is being able to pay for medications. And we know that that's been an issue for many years, and that we always hear about the opportunity to get a generic drug as opposed to a name brand. And a lot of times that will help lower the costs. Is that something that the doctor specifically needs to prescribe, or is that something, if you came into the pharmacy with a prescription for a name brand, would the pharmacist be able to fill it with a generic, or is that needs to come from the doctor originally?
So in Texas, and in actually all of the states that I practice in, one of the things that we are able to do is if they write it for a brand name medication, we automatically sub it for a generic unless the doctor tells us otherwise. If the doctor tells us that brand is medically necessary, then we'll fill the brand. But unless they tell us that the brand is specifically necessary, typically we can switch it over to a generic for you, and we'll do that automatically. If for some reason you were to want to try the brand, you could always ask to try the brand, and we can actually still process it for the brand for you. But the generic is typically going to be the thing that you're dispensed unless you or your doctor request otherwise.
Excellent. That is great to know. I didn't know that. You know, we see a lot of commercials for programs like GoodRx and those types. And in fact, this weekend I saw a billboard on I-35 for one of them saying that I use this particular one and it even saves me money over my Medicare. Do those programs really work? And if so, are there any real restrictions to them, things that the advertising's not telling us that we ought to know before we go sign up for one of these?
So typically a program like GoodRx, when you sign up to use them, it's one of those things, I don't want to liken it to Facebook, but it's something where that you're essentially agreeing that they can use your data, because we're essentially you're signing up for a card, and then we at the pharmacy can use that card, but they essentially get all of that claim information, which includes a lot of sensitive information. It's one of those things, it just depends, because it can involve a lot of work on the patient's part to find a coupon card that may save them more than their insurance. And it also creates potential issues with your Medicare Part C and D plans, because your Medicare Part C and D plans monitor your adherence as well. That's part of their contract with Medicare. So those Medicare C and D plans are actually contracted private insurance companies that agree to give you Medicare plans. They have contracts with the federal government, and they have to report how adherent each of their patients are, and their ability to participate in Medicare actually depends on that. If you use something like GoodRx, your plan cannot see that. It's essentially like you're not even on the medication. So that can create issues later on, potentially for your Medicare Part C and D plan, where if they're not doing particularly well, their reimbursement rates can go down, and those costs can be passed on to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that there's Always something hidden in there with all of those things. I want to give a plug for the Area Agency on Aging. They are one of our partners with Age of Central Texas. They serve the whole 7-county area of Central Texas. They are essentially the pass-through money for the Older Americans Act. So their services are free to you because you pay for it with your taxes. And one of the things that they can do to help you is that they have benefits counselors that can provide free assistance for you. So if you have questions about, I'm having trouble paying for my medications, call the Area Agency on Aging and talk with their benefits counselors, because they really are our experts in the area when it comes to Medicare and Medicaid. And they can help you figure out how to better utilize your Medicare and Medicaid to help get those costs down for you. So just wanted to give a plug for them. We talked about what happens if you miss a dose on your medication. If you forget, I'm on the road and I didn't have a chance to take it. Obviously, we don't want to double up and try to catch up, but is there any real danger of missing a dose here and there on our medications?
So I can tell you, most people do forget to take doses every once in a while. It's just something that happens. Just what for most medications, you typically will try to take the medication as soon as you remember, but if it's getting close to your next dose, you may just want to take the next dose. So for people who do forget doses, to give you an example of what Medicare thinks is an adherent patient, it's someone who takes about 80% of their pills. Okay. So again, in a perfect world, you would take your medication at the same time every day, but again, life happens. So just make sure you know what to do if you do miss a dose. Because again, there are different instructions for different medications. Typically, again, it's you take the dose as soon as you remember, unless it's getting too close to that next dose. But some medications, you may just wait until the next dose. It just depends.
Okay, great. And you were talking about keeping that list of all of your medications. That is so important, not only just your prescriptions, but your over-the-counter medications, those allergy pills that you bought at the grocery store that you're taking now because we're getting into the summer season. They can have a lot of side effects to the medications that you're taking and can either render them ineffective or make them even more potent when it comes to the side effects. And so that, making sure that you discuss all of that, not only with your doctor, but with your pharmacist, is very, very important.
It for sure is. And some of those over-the-counter medicines you may not think much of because it's over-the-counter, right? If I can just buy it, it's not gonna interact with my prescription drugs, right? And that's not necessarily correct. I don't know how many of you are familiar with cimetidine. It's an over-the-counter heartburn medication. It actually interacts with so many medications. I would never recommend that a patient start over-the-counter cimetidine because of the drug interaction profile that it has. So again, you're always going to want to talk with your pharmacist if you're considering adding on a new over-the-counter medication, or if you're starting a new prescription medication and you take over-the-counter medications as well, to make sure that there are no interactions there.
Right. And like most of us, we don't take just one prescribed medication. We've got several that we're taking. And so, the over-the-counter can affect this one, that affects this one, that affects this one. And then all of a sudden, we're in this vicious loop of having a lot of issues with our medications. And got a question, though. Speaking of that, so most of us take multiple medications, and most of us have more than one doctor that we're seeing who is prescribing to us. And a lot of times the doctors aren't aware of what the other doctor is prescribing, even if we're doing our due diligence and taking in our whole list of everything. So is there a good, safe way that we can make sure that we're not being overprescribed, or that this medication is affecting this one that we're getting from two different doctors?
there are a few different things that you can do. I know our doctors here at Baylor Scott White, even if you're using an outside doctor, sometimes those medications from outside prescribers will still show up because we use the same charting software. So we're able to still see some of those medications. For those that don't use the same charting software, many times our nurses will take a medication list and actually go through it with you prior to you seeing the doctor, and they'll update it within the chart itself. So a lot of times, if I am ever concerned about something, I can also go and check the chart, which is something handy that I can do since I'm part of the Baylor Scott White healthcare system, but your regular community pharmacist may not be able to do. So again, the best thing you can do is give them that list. And again, if they're starting you on a new medication, it never hurts to specifically ask, will this new medication interact with my other medications? Because sometimes that'll just make them do a double take and do an actual manual drug-drug interaction report for you. So that's probably the biggest thing I can recommend is just ask. Just say, is this new medicine going to interact with all of my other medications? Because I'll have patients do that where they do use multiple pharmacies and they may only use me for a couple of things. And that's the question that they ask me, and I'll go, all right, let's go ahead and sit down. It's just like, it's not going to take me very long to do a drug-drug interaction. This is what I have that we've given you. What else are you currently taking? And what I typically do, I don't know what your doctor will do, is I will give them a printout and it'll contain the drug-drug interactions, the severity level, as well as if there are any drug-food interactions. Should you avoid grapefruit juice? Things like that. Just some helpful information to make sure that you know what's going on with your medicine.
And that's a very good point, because for a lot of medications, there are things that we don't think about that can interact with them, like grapefruit juice. You know, we've heard about that, how that is an interaction. And something as simple as I'm on a low dose aspirin regimen, and that can interfere with other things as well. So that's a great point. Just, ask your doctor, ask your pharmacist, is this going to interfere with what I've got? And I think that should just be your mantra from now on. Whenever you get a new medication, ask that question, because we certainly don't want to have those interactions, because the coming back from those can be really difficult. Point in case if we have lifestyle changes, let's say we start our New Year's resolution and start working out, and we've lost weight, and our medications were set for a specific weight. My father lost 100 pounds, but his blood pressure, his blood thinner was still set for when he was 100 pounds heavier. And he had a brain bleed stroke because all of that blood thinner had weakened his blood vessels. And so something like that, if you're having a lifestyle change, that's something you need to discuss with your pharmacist, need to discuss with your doctor as well.
For sure. And that's actually something that your pharmacist may talk to you about. Again, most of you may be on Medicare Part C and D, and some of you may actually be eligible for what's called a comprehensive medication review with your pharmacist. It's something that's of no cost to you, where your pharmacist actually sits down at the request of your Medicare plan and goes over all of your medications. Typically, I'll go over drug interactions all over again, even if you're a regular patient and I know you, just so that we're both on the same page. And we'll talk sometimes about those lifestyle changes, like, well, what are your goals? What's changed recently? Because those do have huge impacts. If you have changes in how much you're eating, some of your medications may need to be taken with a fatty meal, but you've had a lifestyle change and now you're not eating fatty meals. That may make it so your medicine doesn't work as well and we've got to adjust it. Those are all things that you just need to tell your pharmacist. And then, what I do with that information when I come across problems is I typically kick it over to your doctor and I go, hey, it's like, this is the discussion I had with the patient today. It's just like their appointment isn't for another couple of months with you. Could you go ahead and just give them a call real quick? Because I'm a little concerned about this. Typically, our docs here within the system will go, okay, it's like, I'll give them a call. It's like, I'll follow up with you and let you know how it all goes. And honestly, it makes me feel really good when I can do that for my patients. It's something where I love to make sure that we're all on the same page. And again, this is something that your Medicare plan can cover, but there's certain criteria that you may have to meet. So some of you may not be eligible to get a comprehensive medication review, but your pharmacist can always do a drug-drug interaction check with you whenever you need it.
And the Area Agency on Aging, another plug for them, this is a program that they also offer. So they have funds that they can contract with pharmacists around the whole Central Texas area. So they can do that as well. And you just contact them and request it, and they can set up with a pharmacist who will go through all of your medications with you. Again, remember all of those over-the-counters, the aspirin, everything else that you're taking, the herbal supplements that you bought, all of that, include that in your list, because all of those are important in the interactions that they cause with each other. One thing that we've had a question on before is the pill packets, where you can get all of your pills in one little packet that you tear off and take those each day, and don't have to sort through having put them in the boxes and all of that. Is that something that you can get from your pharmacy, or is that something that has to be done online?
So some pharmacies do offer it. It's just a matter of talking with your pharmacy to see if that is a service that they offer. I know right now Baylor Scott White doesn't offer it, but I believe CVS, as well as their online pharmacy pill pack, do offer it. I think it may be select locations only. It's one of those things you just have to ask. And sometimes the action of asking, even if your pharmacy doesn't necessarily do it, can start the wheels of getting something like that started at your pharmacy.
That's very true. You never know. If you don't ask for it, you don't get it.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things, especially with the pandemic, is if you have trouble getting around, if you have trouble getting a ride to the pharmacy, many pharmacies are offering low cost or free delivery. I know our Baylor Scott White Pflugerville pharmacy offers free delivery. I believe that HEB offers delivery, and it's free if you have at least 2 prescriptions delivered. I believe Walgreens is offering delivery as well. There are a lot of options for you to get your medicine. So you don't necessarily need to come to us. Sometimes we can come to you.
That's very true. And for a lot of us, as we're getting older, transportation does become a big issue for us, being able to get to our doctor and to our pharmacy. And so I'm going to give you another plug for us here at Age of Central Texas. If you're having issues with any of those things, please contact us, because we can help connect you to all the services in the community that can help assist you. And of course, those services are absolutely free. It doesn't hurt to give us a call and let us be of assistance. One last thing we want to talk about is that keeping that list of medications. I know we keep coming back to that, but that is so important, because not only do you want to have that when you go to get a new prescription, so you can show your pharmacist, here's everything that I'm taking, is this going to be an issue? When you go to the doctor, you want to have all of the medications so they can review everything that you're taking to see if there are any changes that need to be made in your prescriptions. But also in the case of an emergency, you want to be able to have that so that if you do have to run to the hospital, that you've got that list available to you. We talked about being able to keep it electronically in the cloud. Is it also a good idea just to have it written somewhere that you can stick in your purse, stick in your wallet, so that you've always got it with you in case there is an emergency?
I would definitely recommend keeping a copy of it in your wallet. Again, if somebody comes across you and you aren't conscious, that's something that they can easily grab and look at when they're trying to figure out what's going on. So again, if I were to come across somebody who was unconscious, the first thing I'm going to do is see if anybody can help, call 911, and then probably check an ID, see if there's anything that I need to know.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Lonna, we want to thank you so much, because your expertise is just amazing, and so many great things that we've talked about today that even I hadn't thought about when it comes to our medications and making sure that we stay in adherence, but also to make sure that we're going to not cross our medications and cause issues for ourselves further on down the line. Just a reminder to everyone, if you have any questions about your medications, go talk to your pharmacist, because they are your experts and they can help you in any way. And if it's something that they're not going to be able to solve for you, they may refer you back to your doctor, but they're a great place to start. Start with your pharmacist, because they have the expertise. They know these medications. They know what they do and don't do. They can help you in planning your schedule on when you need to take them, and make sure that it's going to be easy for you to do so. And they can help with solutions for that, as well as Lonna mentioned, if you have been prescribed a pill that is just too big for you to swallow, they can help find a solution to that as well. So all kinds of great opportunities you have with your pharmacist, because they have your best welfare in mind. They want to make sure that you stay healthy as well. Lonna, once again, thank you so very much. We appreciate you taking the time out today and spending it with us to provide us with all this great information. We want to remind you to come back and visit with us again tomorrow. We're going to have our next session, and each day this week at 10 a.m. And we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll send you the information about the video of today's presentation so that you'll be able to see it later. Some people said they wanted to share it with their families, and so we'll make that available to you just as fast as we can get it posted on YouTube. We will see you again tomorrow. We hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Rob. Bye.